All right, so we have with us MackMcD. He's going to be running Silent Hill 3 on the PC version. And we just swap our scene here. And Mac, how are you doing today? Here. And Mac, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Thank you so much.
All right, and if we are ready, we can go ahead and start a countdown in 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. Thank you so much. Hi guys, I am MackMcD. Sorry for the technical issues with Discord, but do we have echo? We should not have echo. In any event, this is Silent Hill 3. We met the incentive for the...
As far as I'm aware, we don't have any echo.
The Memory of Alessa skin. I made a little bit of a mod here so that, as you can see, we're playing as a slightly different character. Anyway, explaining the run. At the intro here, it's a dream sequence, so you have to die in order to move on as fast as possible. And it's pretty much RNG. You want to get hit by heavy attacks only. And I managed to whiff one, but that's how she goes. In any event, there we go. The intro is done. Now, explaining this run, the majority of it is optimal movement. You'll notice that there's some strafe turns that I'll do coming out of most doors. It doesn't look like much, but it's 2 to 3 combination button press in order to try and get it as efficient as possible. Outside of that, you may have heard that there's a little bit of RNG in this game. That is true. It's mostly bosses. But outside of that, it is a significant chunk of just really well done movement and routing. So this is the mall to start. I don't know if you're familiar with this game. Most areas have 2 versions. This is the first part of the mall, and when you get to the elevator, it'll convert to the alt version or the dark version. But up in this room, we're going to have our first menu. And if you use the mouse, it actually activates the menu a lot faster. So it's the only time that we use the mouse outside of keypads and codes in the game. You'll use the mouse to obviously press buttons on any keypads, but if you select an item with the mouse, it actually both selects the item and confirms the use of it within a split second. So ideally, you want to have your mouse in just the right spot at any given time in the game. First bit of RNG is this code here. It's different every single time, 6319. You just basically try to read it as best you can without the books. And if you're lucky, you'll get it. And I was lucky. All right, so in the elevator here, you're going to see a familiar Silent Hill staple fall from the ceiling. Right, there's our radio. Get used to that sound because there's a lot of it. Now we're in the mall and everything has gotten, well, dark. Alt mall is generally what we call this. As we come up here, we're gonna grab this flashlight, and there's 2 ways to come. There's 2 ways to come out of the flashlight, and I prefer to strafe turn like that. But you can also do what's known as a quick turn cancel, and I will show that a little bit later on. This room's tricky with movement to do ideally. As you can see, I messed it up. That's fine. Picking up that coat hanger ideally, it's actually it's pretty tricky to do. It's a combination of strafe turning and general just strafing. But all in all, not a super sloppy run yet. There's been some messy inputs, but nothing too terrible. And we're going to use that coat hanger. Hopefully I'm in the right position. I am. And climb this ladder. So at the top of this escalator here, we're going to grab the dog key. You don't really get to see much of it if I do it ideally. Oh yeah, there's the dog key. So that was messy as well. Anybody who's familiar with Silent Hill 1 is probably familiar without that TV. In this next room, if you're new to the game, I recommend grabbing that pipe. Safety pipe is a good thing to have when you're first learning to run. So as you can see, there's a lot of strafing coming out of particular doors. And like I said, a lot of this run is just knowing exactly where you're going when you come out of each door. It's not a simple matter of just coming through the door and then taking a turn. You want to pre-turn wherever possible. Some doors you can, hold the strafe button and the left button in order to basically get as efficient a line as possible. But some other ones you actually need to hold up first and vice versa. So we crack a walnut and we get a lovely little stone out of that we'll use a little later on. Come back in this room and we'll pass that safety pipe again because we don't need it. We're going to be confident that we won't need it. Provided the one of the last boss fights goes well, there's no reason that we should need it. All right, we'll use this moonstone here. And make our way to the first boss of the game. Now, this worm is mildly phallic. And it's got some interesting teeth, to say the least. This boss, like most bosses in the game, does have some RNG on it. Basically, it's the amount of shots that he takes in order to die. A 6-shot worm is what you want ideally. But it could be as many as 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so it's the worst worm we could have got. If you don't delay your 7th and 8th shots there, he'll actually duck back into that hole, and you'll have to wait a solid 15 seconds for him to come back out. So that's one of the main reasons that a 7 or 8 shot worm would result in a reset on most runs, is because you actually have to wait. Just sit there and wait a couple of seconds before finishing those last 2 shots. So it ends up being a significant amount if you're going for a top level time, like a top 5 time. Moving on into the subway. Again, a lot of this game is just optimal movement, knowing where to go and how to do it as short a line as possible. So outside of counting your steps for you, there might be some dead air here. I turn off my light here mainly because, and I'm going to be honest with you, the top runners that I've watched do this game turn off their light here. I believe it decreases the chances of those dogs catching up with you and biting you. But I just do it because I've seen the best of the best do it. So we use that little device that we picked up here, break open this chain. carry on through. So you're going to see my first quick turn cancel here, which is basically, it is what it sounds. You pick up the shotgun, do a quick turn, and then use the aim to cancel the animation and make it considerably faster to come out of. The shotgun is our primary weapon going through the rest of the game. So these dogs can be problematic. We want to jump down here, activate that door, and then immediately run out of here. But if you don't quite do it right, these dogs can get you. We ended up doing it just nicely. Something else that's picky about this game, it hasn't happened yet, but door triggers, especially on easy. We're playing this game on easy combat, easy riddles. And it's any percent. It's the fastest way to do the game. The issue with easy is that simply holding the action button, which is also the fire button if you're aiming, since it's on easy combat, it doubles as an auto aim button. So if there's an enemy nearby and you're not quite in the door trigger that you're trying to activate, it'll actually, Heather will turn away from the door and aim at the enemy instead. So you have to make sure that you are bang on in the door triggers. You can't mash from, 10 feet away. And I got hit by those guys. That happens sometimes. You need to make sure that you are right on the door trigger if there are enemies nearby. Otherwise, you lose time dramatically. It's one of the weird things about this game is watching it casually, it seems very, very basic and very simple. And to be honest, if you wanted to learn this run, it's not that hard to learn. It's the little things that add up, such as accidentally auto-aiming at enemies when you're trying to mash doors, or not optimally turning when you come out of each room. So the subway section is done, and we're moving on into the sewers. Everybody loves a good sewer level. The only thing people love more than sewer levels, I'm assuming, is escort missions. I completely passed the door because I was reading chat, and I shouldn't do that. Note to self, pay attention to the run before reading chat. Alright, we're going to grab this bottle here because we're going to fill it up in a future room. Looks like Glenn made it into Discord. That's nice. Seems like things are improving slowly over there on the Discord side. There are some long stretches here in the sewer section. But even still, simple things like not running directly straight when you could take a slightly diagonal line actually does add up, considering how much distance you have to travel in this game. And we're going to fill that bottle up and take it into one of the most problematic rooms in the sewer here. There's a lot of geometry to get hung up on in this next room, and the triggers for both filling this bottle or using this bottle and the switch that we have to press are both very touchy. Not terrible. I've done this room worse. Coming up into the next room is what I call the hairdryer room. Aptly named because it's where you pick up the hairdryer. There's also an ampoule that we need. The ampoules really come into play later on in the run because Heather has a stamina meter. It's an invisible stamina meter. And if it runs out, if you run basically for too long, she will start running slowly. And in a speed run, that's the last thing that you want. So we pick up that ampoule before we pick up the hairdryer. And before a later boss battle, we'll actually equip that so that a hotkey can activate it whenever we need. And we'll use that in a couple of areas later on. I'll tell you when that comes up. So we're going to use the hairdryer here. She throws it in the water, which lets us cross this bridge. Another strafe turn out that door. The enemies in this game, for the most part, are very nice about staying out of your way. You don't have a whole lot of enemy dodging that you need to do. A few of the ones that you do have to dodge, that you've seen earlier at least, it's pretty easy. They don't actually do any damage if you run up against them or slightly push them out of the way. Coming up, though, there will be some enemies that I will point out can be incredibly problematic. And unfortunately are pure RNG. Climbing out of the sewers now, we're moving into the construction site. And this particular set of stairs is fairly known among runners for this game. Again, it's one of those things that looks very basic. You're just running up a flight of stairs, but if you don't do it quite efficiently, you can actually lose a couple of seconds. You need to take these turns as tight as possible, but not so tight that you bounce off of the railings, losing time. That wasn't a bad set of stairs. Like, I actually, on my splits, have a specific split just for construction site stairs. So I can keep an eye on how well I'm doing. Jump down this hole. Very brave. Now the rope in this section is actually fairly problematic. I do a slow turn to pick it up because I find it most consistent. If you try to do it again, it looks really, really easy, but accidentally getting a desk inspection prompt there instead of actually picking up the rope is incredibly common, and it's pretty hard to avoid. So rather than try to be lightning fast when picking up that rope, I rather do something that's consistent. And that's the strat that's worked for me so far. This is another quick turn cancel. This game is incredibly elevator heavy. Both the rope and the jack that we just picked up are going to be used on an elevator. This elevator right here. First pry it open. Then use a rope to climb down. Come through this echo room, and we will activate this tub. And with that, that's the regular construction site. As you can tell, the construction building is now in slightly rougher shape. We're going to go meet Vincent. We're going to skip everything that he says because nobody cares what Vincent has to say. Pick up a whole bunch of stuff there, but most importantly is an item for later on, as well as an ampoule. Another ampoule. And elevator 1. As I said, elevators are a huge part of this game. Pick up a couple shotgun shells, as well as some delicious meat. And then head back to the elevator. Go up to the 5th floor. And the first thing we're going to do is pick up some matches. Try to avoid that guy. So those are the enemies I was talking about that can cause you problems. Not so much in this hallway, but a couple of hallways away, they can be very problematic. We'll combine that. Whoops. Combine that with that and use it with that. Good menuing. Top quality menuing there. So this is Slurper hallway number 1. Basically 100% RNG whether or not you get grabbed or knocked down by these guys, and they can kill a run. So far so good. There's one more Slurper in this hallway who also, out of pure RNG, can ruin your run by grabbing you. And we got away with it. So probably good with Slurpers, which are some of the most problematic enemies in this game that aren't bosses. Hip. Be real quick with this door before a dog attacks you. He's just coming off of the right side of the screen there. Back to the 1st floor. And we can finish what we got to do here in the alt construction site. 2 more Slurpers. These guys usually aren't a problem, but sometimes, like now, they can be in the way. As much as those guys were blocking our path, it's better than them grabbing you, or it's definitely better than them knocking you down. So, not the worst thing that could happen, but also not ideal. Back out on the street, we are on our way to our home. Where, since it's obvious now, since in this case we're actually the memory of Alessa. But when you're Heather and you're playing this game normally, there's a fairly large twist in this next room. Unfortunately, we're going to skip it. You're not going to see it, but your dad is the one and only Harry Mason, and he's not doing too good. Turn off the flashlight, and we're going to equip them ampoules, like I said, if we can do it properly, and then equip the shotgun. And if we're lucky, we'll get 2 shots on this guy. Nope. This is a really bad missionary fight so far. He's running away. Oh my lord. 2 missed shots. Missionary doesn't often go this badly. And this could be an ammunition issue a little bit later on, but Lone Survivor has a slightly good point, except for the fact that you probably shouldn't be watching a speed run for a game that you haven't played casually. Especially if you don't want spoilers. With that said, sorry for ruining it for you, buddy. So that ampoule that we equipped, we're going to use it right now. You can hear it. What that does is it just refills Heather's stamina. So that you don't slow down on this run. Because this is the longest straight running path that you're going to do that's uninterrupted. And around the time that we turn a corner up here, she's going to, she would actually slow down if you didn't use that, that healing item there, that ampoule. Now, even right here, I'm slightly running diagonally I probably have it set up a little bit too sharp. The amount of time that this saves is likely negligible, fractions of a second, but if you set up this, ideally, if you think about it, point A to point B is the straightest line is the best way to do it. So I try to set up a diagonal running pattern that'd take her across the street from that corner to this opening. And I mean, it's small, but it gives me something to do in that very long fog running sequence. Go to the second floor of this hospital we're in now. Now this code is always the same, which is convenient. 4639. I think that is the only code in the game that is actually always the exact same. This code is different every single time. 524 is not a good code. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 4. Pick up a camera and head right back from whence we came. Come in here, we'll grab some extra shotgun shells, especially since we wasted so many. Some perfume, and I don't even know what that other stuff is. Oh, it's a nail polish remover, I'm pretty sure. And we'll go down to the first floor. And some of the trickiest menuing's coming up in the next room. Now, I don't know of many people who struggle with menuing in this game, but I do for some reason. I find that it likes to eat my inputs. So we're going to come down, we're going to... No, I don't need to equip that. I need to equip that, and then equip the perfume, which is for way later, and then use... And I'm not close enough to use the nail polish. Like I said, interesting. Thank you. First time. First try. Nailed it. All right. Carrying on. Like I said, I'm really, really good at menuing in this game. One of the best. Come into the basement and take a picture behind this here wall to get another code that is 100% random. You're going to hear me repeat it. 9874. 9874. Grab a submachine gun and some ammo. 9874. Oh my lord. I'm pretty sure the code was 9874. Repeating is effective. 9874. Yes, sir. Hey, thanks, Python. Just after it was that popped up just after I entered it. So the delay seems right on where we want it to be. Skip that phone call. We don't care about Leonard. Mind your own business. Back down to the second floor, and we are basically done with the boring old regular hospital. Even though this hospital, in its regular form, I don't want to spend any time in it. No, sir. I'll pass. But then things start to get weird. On the bright side, my outfit matches this this palette very well. It's like I belong here. So we got a little bit of a maze section. It's not too mazy, really. But nevertheless. We're gonna activate this weird symbol. Skip a cutscene and run through this door and climb the second long ladder sequence that we've seen today. Snake Eater. A little bit of a different vibe on this one. Okay. Alt Hospital, one of the most legendary... This is probably one of my favorite areas in any of the Silent Hill games. Just for at a pure aesthetic, and a lot of the things that unfortunately we're not gonna see, but there's a lot of awesome rooms in the Alt Hospital. Like, this area is just amazing. Come in here and we're gonna grab a plastic bag. Because of course we need that. If we saw that in a garbage can, we'd grab it in this situation. You know, sometimes you get slurped, and that's just how life is. But you gotta get back up, and you gotta keep on going. You can't let a slurper keep you down. Come around here. And we're going to use that bag, fill it with some blood, because that makes sense. Without anybody telling me to do that, that seems like a good way to spend my time. And we're going to bring that blood down to the first floor. Sneak past this nurse without getting piped. We're coming up on our... Is this the second boss? No, third boss. Third boss of the game. Leonard. Now, Leonard is probably... I'd say he's the worst case of RNG in this game. I'll explain it after I do it, actually. Let's just try. So you want to fire a shot right away, fire another one right away. Okay, good. We got good RNG. So he stays on the ground. Him staying on the ground there is pure luck. If he doesn't stay on the ground there, your run's dead. He just swims around in circles while you chase him and try to finish him off. But since he did stay on the ground, we can equip the SMG and just finish him off. But yeah. There are very few things to anger you in a Silent Hill 3 run more than when Leonard decides to swim away. And now for the nice, long fog run back to our hotel room, where Douglas is... Is Douglas waiting for us? It's been so long since I've played this casually, I don't even remember. But we're going back to the hotel room where we were once with Douglas. And as I come past this pair of barrels, you're going to hear that health sound again, because that's me pressing a hotkey to use an ampoule. Because right around that time, if you don't, Heather starts slowing down due to being out of stamina. So we're not using it for health. We're using it for the stamina boost to make sure that we're still running at full speed through this whole section. And boy, howdy, there's still quite a bit of running. I don't know if there are any more donations, but and I know there's a significant delay between me and you, Python, but if you wanted to read some donations, great time right now.
All right, so we don't actually have any donations in currently, but I did want to call attention to the fact that we are 2 runs out from Gunman Clive, and we're still looking for a character choice. So if you want to donate for Peter Afro to play as Clive himself, or a Duck, or Mrs. Johnson, now's probably your best shot for that.
So I'm going to go ahead and guess that there was an echo there. And that would be on my end, and I apologize for that. Just to give you guys a heads up, anybody who's just gotten here, the technical issues that we're having, such as if there was an echo there, Discord is what we were using for audio. And as you may or may not be aware, Oh, no echo. Fantastic. Discord has been struggling pretty hard, so we had to basically slap together another solution here where I stream my own audio rather than using it. And yeah, so just bear with us. I'm glad there was no echo, but I thought for sure there ought to have been. So here's another piece of RNG. All right, we got good RNG. You need to hear this fall down as soon as possible. It can take upwards of 15 seconds for that to fall down. But we got lucky and it fell down right away. So, also the perfume that we equipped earlier is for this gentleman. It's because they don't like the smell of it, and he stays far away from you. If you don't have perfume equipped, that guy can actually block you in when you come out that door, so that you're unable to actually escape that without getting knocked out. So that's what the perfume's for. Is for that one enemy to not body block you inside that area when you come out the door after grabbing the key. Another tricky area here is this hitting the switch and coming out of this room as optimally as possible. And we nailed it. Oh my god, I'm so good at this game, you guys. Like, well, you saw it. You don't need me to explain it to you. It's disgusting how good I am. Anyway, what I just did is actually pretty tricky. Doesn't look like much. Like most of the tricky things in this game, it may not look like much, but it feels really good to pull off. And then we come into Borley's mansion. For the most part, I'm going to let you just listen to this guy talk, but in a normal run on PC, what we would do here is actually Alt-Tab out of the game, because these doors, as you can tell, they won't let me open it while he's talking. We got to let this guy finish his blurbs before he can open these doors. But if you Alt-Tab out of the game and click and hold the title bar for it, the timer, the in-game timer, actually stops. So even though this dude keeps blabbing on, the timer isn't going. And then when he's done talking, you let go of the window and you can open the door, and the game thinks you saved time. I'm not doing that right now because there's actually some dynamic camera changes and stuff that happens if I don't do that. So it's a slightly less boring if I don't do it. And since I'm not running in-game time, it doesn't matter. This is a marathon run. In-game time doesn't matter. Spooky. Hello, Danny.
That's Danny. A quiet young man, but quite friendly, as you can see. He was so eager to meet you.
He was really eager.
His hometown is New Orleans, but he came here after first losing his way. Oh, maybe...
Excuse me, but can anybody in chat tell me where the path to heaven might be?
Where is the path to heaven?
Can I get some paths to heaven in the chat?
This mansion is quite old, so I'm so sorry. This place is just falling apart. The mechanism is broken, you see. It wasn't supposed to stop there, I assure you.
How sad. So anyway, we can look at the skin at least. The actual memory of Alessa when you're fighting her is animated. There's like animated blood trickling over her and stuff. But the detail is still really, really good for a game from this age. Red Mist Hallway. Notorious.
But it seems that no one wants you to leave. Everyone really likes you. They want
This is really just a matter of memorizing which turn to take and how many steps. Sometimes I still struggle with the step counts. As you can see, I'm bumping into walls here and there. All right. Whoops. And with that, we are knee deep into the fun land. We come in this area here and grab a chain. Whoops. We're going to need that a little bit later on, as well as this red shoe. It's very well illuminated. Grab a couple of shotgun shells. You could always use more shotgun shells. Oh no, I actually got hit by that guy. That's kind of RNG, but if I'm paying more attention, I can still kind of run around him a little bit. Not so much, Python. She stops, but she doesn't, like, bump. Whoops. I'm really good at menuing, by the way. The hitboxes for both of these are actually pretty bad, as you can see. I'm doing my best not swearing. I think I've done pretty well. All right. Yeah, the hitboxes in this game can be frustrating, to say the least. Whoops. All right. Grab that mask, and we'll use that over here. And, whoops. Use the mask on her. I don't think that's going to work. No, I'm not lined up well enough. You know when you panic and you overturn? Okay, we are almost at one of the most notorious areas for me, at least. The carousel horses. Before I get into the horses, I can explain them while I do them. What we're going to do here is we're going to set ourselves up, and then we're going to actually go into the save menu. Now, why am I going into the save menu right now? It's because when I exit the save menu, instead of waiting for the carousel to boot up, it's going to already be going. So we're just skipping the wait for that. Okay, so one cycle horses. You want to... Oh, I already butchered it. That's okay. Ideally, what you want to do is you want to get all of these horses within one cycle of the carousel going around, because it doesn't stop until it's gone around one full rotation. Like there's a very particular time that resets if it doesn't, you don't get it done in the first, ideal span. But unfortunately we missed it, so we'll be having 2 cycle horses at least. Did I get you? Yeah, you're good. So you're gonna hear ka-chunk. And that ka-chunk means that I can go into the save menu again. And once again, rather than just sit and wait for the cutscene to play, it skips all that waiting. When we exit it, the cutscene automatically goes. Now, this is one of the worst bosses in the game, and she looks a little different. I mean, I guess it makes sense, right? Don't know if I set this up properly, but there's a particular order that you want to do this fight in too. Oh my lord. Please don't run away. I hope I don't run out of ammo. It's entirely possible I don't have enough shotgun ammo now. So I haven't placed my shots very well. And if you run out of ammo, this fight gets very, very long. So you'll end up having to use the knife to finish her off. Hey. That's strange. Notice how she doesn't have a gun. She's shooting me with finger guns. Please have one more shell. Okay, we're good. Not the best Alessa fight. It was actually pretty rough, but I'm going to be honest with you, I've had worse. And that's going to be it for Funland. Moving right along into the final section of the game. This is the church, or the chapel. Whatever word you choose to use for it. And I'm going to be, in learning this game, this is probably the area that I had the hardest time routing. Just figuring out not to go the wrong way. Making sure that I go the right direction. Because this place can get pretty confusing. And there's even a couple of rooms where it's almost, you can't see. But hopefully, I'm not going to make any of those mistakes here today. So here we're going to actually quick save and then quick load, because if you're familiar with the game, there's a pair of like ghostly little footsteps that walk and show you where you're supposed to, I guess, move that painting. And if you don't quick save and quick load there, you just have to wait. You just have to wait for those footsteps. You quick save and quick load, skip the wait. We'll do that one more time a little later on. Also, that guy hitting me, RNG. You hope for the best with that gentleman, and you hope you let him by, but both directions, it's basically just luck that he lets you go, and we got lucky the second time. We're going to come in here and we're going to pick up, guess what? Shotgun shells. We need lots of them. And this key. Or that card, rather, not a key. That is what we're doing here in the chapels. We're actually collecting 5 cards that we need to unlock a door because this is Silent Hill. Oh, geez. I did this wrong. Don't do that. General advice for running Silent Hill 3. Don't take the elevator when you're not supposed to. How's Discord doing? Oh, Queen got into Discord. That's a damn shame. Grab a key, come back out. Yeah, I'm sorry, you guys, that Discord failed. I would have loved to have had Queen do commentary. It was that was the plan. Oh, my Queen was just going to commentate, and I was just going to run and focus on the run. Didn't work out that way. I'm doing my best. I did not actually expect to do any commentary, so as you could tell, I didn't have any prepared. I don't sound prepared because I wasn't prepared. Straight up. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. The last thing we wanted was Queen to actually do commentary. Oh, well, thank you so much, Koila. Oh, my lord. You gotta be careful with this guy. He can knock you down. Obviously, he just did. And see, I am now making small turning mistakes. This area can get quite confusing. When I'm when I'm not as, I guess I'm just a little bit, I wouldn't say frazzled. I'm just slightly distracted. Trying to commentate what I'm doing while doing it. Normally, I'm just... Honestly, I'm gonna explain this. It's not that I'm not focused. It's that I'm hyper focused. Generally, I don't know if this is true for most runners, but for me, once I get fairly comfortable with the game and I start running it well, the less I think about the run, the better I am at it. Just doing it out of pure muscle memory. But since I'm explaining the run, I feel like I'm overthinking it and I'm making mistakes that I don't normally make. It's weird. Counterintuitive, but here we are. I love this room. I love that you can't see anything in this room. It's my favorite. No! I'm actually injured. That's okay. I might take a safety healing item before we move into the final boss, just to be safe. Hey, thanks, Casino Coin. So this is the final stretch of the game. We're running toward that door that we need to use the cards on right now. All right, so I'm going to use a healing item just to be safe, because I do have the final boss coming up. We'll equip that. Oh, good. Menuing McD. High Priestess, Moon, Eye, Fool. No, that's a Hangman. That's a Fool. That's not right? That's not right. Oh, jeez. You go there, you go there. There we go. We got it. Normally I start on a different card, but since I'm great at menuing, I started on a card that I'm not used to starting on, and that's what messed me up on that puzzle. So we're gonna use this necklace here that creates probably one of the most notorious, well, not notorious. That cutscene that we just skipped is honestly one of my favorites in gaming. It's just so effed up. And this is the God fight. Now again, this looks pretty basic. Shoot up. Oh, and time's coming up on the last hit on boss. Oh, geez, I need to heal. I'm gonna die. Thank God. Whew. Thank God. Get it? Anyway, it's all about timing. If you fire too early or you don't aim quite right, time. Then it can take longer than you want it to, right? But anyway, that's Silent Hill 3 with the Memory of Alessa mod. Now this mod, like I said, I made for the purpose of this marathon. There was one online that somebody else had made, but it got taken down. Konami asked to take it down. So with that said, I will make this available to people. If you join the Metal Gear Solid Speedrunning Discord and send me a message, I will help you get it if you're interested in using it. But outside of that, let's see what my time was. In-game time is the only thing we care about, generally. 40 minutes. Not too bad. Anyway, I guess with my send-off, I want to say good luck to Raichu with getting to GDQ. Good job, buddy. I'm really excited to see you run Metal Gear Solid 3 there. Thanks to MGSR for putting us on. Thanks to everybody who's watching. Thanks to Queen for doing commentary, even though she wasn't able to. And especially thanks to everybody who's donated to this cause, because you guys are the MVPs. So thank you all very much. I'm MackMcD. You can find me at twitchtv.macmcd/MackMcD, whatever. It's just MackMCD. And I'm going to be grinding this game for top 10 for the next couple of weeks because it's reinvigorated my love of speedrunning. Have a great weekend, guys.